Well,
It truly is the end of the world as we know it.
yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to see how long.
Is that the opening you were expecting, Logan?
I just decided, like, I just chose chaos today and said, I'm just going to say well and just hold off
Yeah,
for, like,
I was
as
wondering-
long as I can before somebody says something.
Like, I was wondering if you were doing that intentionally or just Discord muting you, but I did love that idea. So I was just like, well, just a long pause, and I'm like, well, what?
Well,
What else do you want me to say?
We're in a void of
It's the end of-
nothingness.
It's the end of the world. At least that's what the game calls it.
I wasn't
Yep,
expecting
'cause
the
I'll
end of
admit,
the
it's a
world to be
lot-
so purple.
I knew
Pi
it.
is the end of the world.
The warning signs with pi were there from the beginning.
Oh no!
And I mean that by Pie Mania, not like actual
Yeah,
pie.
I think
apple pie would never
I knew
betray
who
me.
you were talking
I
about.
was
It's
about-
fine.
I'm pretty sure she's been around on the channel long enough for people to know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Behemoth.
So
You got blue flames now. He's
I
all
guess it has been a little
cool.
while since our last recording.
No, he's
What
not
can
cool.
we expect?
He's hot. Blue flames are higher.
Now, what are you asking,
That
James?
is true.
Yeah, that is very true. But that being said, it has been a little while since our last recording, Logan. So tell us what we can expect from the end of the world.
Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of battling, because this is basically the game's this is the game's home
Gauntlet?
stretch, and yeah, this is basically the big gauntlet. There's virtually no plot except for like one room that tries to throw in a lot of stuff out of nowhere. So
the plot dump that's typical of the Kingdom Hearts game.
Right, but it's also like weird poetic nonsense. For the most part, what you're basically seeing here is like the heartless world. Nice, second chance, finally.
Woo!
Second chance is an incredible ability that basically means that whenever I have it equipped, it'll make it so that it's either that or once more. But I believe second chance is the ability that if I equip it, let's look for it here. Yeah. So second chance makes it that even if I were to die, if someone's attack were to do enough that it would kill me, I would still keep 1 HP left.
Right.
Which, I'll tell you right now, there are some attacks, I want to say there's at least an attack in Kingdom Hearts 2 and stuff. There are some battles where they require you to have a second chance on because which boss battle is it? There's like one fight, there's like one battle, like one optional battle in Kingdom Hearts 2, I think Final Mix, where the boss starts off with doing a completely unavoidable, unblockable attack that if you don't have second chance equipped, you are going to die.
I want to say that's either one of the organization refights or the Lingering Well.
It may be, but I remember there was something where like if you do not have this ability equipped, you are just going to die, and it sucks.
I mean, honestly, that just makes me think back to fucking Superstar Saga, where, like, right when we get to the second phase of the final boss fight, you are immediately dropped to 1 HP in a dream, and that by that point, you are, if you don't act on that, that's pretty much a death sentence.
Yeah, that is just
Right.
like...
I still thought that was... Go ahead.
Just honestly... Like, I feel like if it wasn't for the fact that it's fairly easy to regain health after that point, I would say it's probably up there with Dreamy Bowser as one of the more obnoxious final bosses.
I thought it was... I did think that idea of it was cool. I did think it was cool that the game kind of respected your skill level to be like, okay, this is not a freebie, this is not a scripted event, you need to, like, pick yourself up your feet right now. But still... would really suck if somebody used all of their, nut healing abilities prior to that stage happening.
Yeah, that's kind of the case where it's like you got to put a lot of faith in the player. Granted, their faith wasn't unwarranted, considering that I can't, like, honestly, if you don't have like a good 10 or so healing items by the time you reach that point in the fight, you're doing something horribly wrong.
Yeah.
I died to Bowletta a lot when I was starting off with that game, but only because was so underleveled. I was trying to rush through the entire game, and I was not doing well at learning. I was not doing well at learning the abilities and stuff. But again, so that was more so my fault. But anyway, back to this RPG. So yeah, so the end of the world is meant to be. Another one.
Another
Hello.
behemoth.
Another behemoth.
Because of the way his face looks, he looks less like a Heartless and more like a Pokemon.
I thought we mentioned that
kinda?
the last time we recorded this, unless you only said, like, he looks like a Heartless except for his face. I think, I'm trying to remember how you said it.
Probably.
I mean, granted, I understand it's because it technically is a Heartless, but again, I brought this up. It's still amusing to me that, like, you have these behemoths that kind of look all stylized and such, and then you got freaking Mario Sports Mix where you get to find a literally no-holds-barred behemoth.
Yeah, straight up
Yeah,
Final
true.
Fantasy design behemoth. Here, they look like silly Muppets. Ow. I mean, look at that face. That is the face of someone that says cookie.
You know, it's funny because, like, and you know what? It is a possibility since they are technically owned by Disney now. I actually know a couple of people, including a friend of mine in Jordan's, Tyler, that unironically want to see the Muppets in Kingdom Hearts.
That would be funny, honestly, if that were to happen.
Are you thinking of that freaking Jello Apocalypse video?
I don't think I've seen that.
Was that Jello which one was the video where it had like paper bag puppet Goofy with sock puppet Donald?
That
and...
sounds
don't
familiar,
remember
but
that.
I've never seen it myself.
I believe that was Jello Apocalypse, or I don't know, Goofy. What a thing to say. I almost thought, wow, Donald, that was actually very perfect. Who's writing for your guys' dialogue now?
I mean, we're pretty much we're literally at the home stretch by now, and that's kind of like our main mission at this point, is to find this guy.
Yeah, so we're basically we are approaching the the ending point.
Donald.
But yeah, no, but yeah, yes, soaring. I know, I get it. Oh, meteor strike!
Ooh.
Just in time, Donald. You've arrived.
Mhm.
Bam!
Whoa.
The most powerful
birthday,
in-game
Donald.
staff for him. Okay, and I guess I lied. There is actually another staff you can get that's more powerful, but it requires you to play something called the Hades Cup. Like, they're all optional rewards. So, welcome to... I don't know what the hell to call this place. I'll just call it the Trials of Passage or whatever. Basically, standing in between us and the end game is a series of heartless gauntlets that are basically going to take us to each of the worlds we've been to before, but some weird simulation. So, basically what we do is go in, beat up all the enemies until they stop spawning, and then leave, and do that for every single world we've been through. So since we're gonna have plenty of time to talk about that now, no, it was this Jello Apocalypse video where it was like, what could we see next in the plot of Kingdom Hearts? And it was, oh, what if they went to a Muppets world? And so Sora was a Muppet, like just a straight up Muppet. Goofy was a paper bag puppet, and Donald was a sock puppet.
Oh, Donald
And-
would be a sock puppet.
And that was where they revealed that Goofy had actually become part of the organization because of the plot device that when we thought he died in Kingdom Hearts 2 that one time, his nobody was actually formed and his heart fell to darkness and he became, I think it was like Gooks or something with the X in it or whatever. And he said, I will do the most evil thing I can think of. Eliminate Donald's subtitles. And they just made them go away. And
You know-
Donald just like went nuts because he couldn't be heard anymore.
I
a long thing.
there is a part of me that really wants to say that there's no way they could get away with turning Goofy into such a literal monster like that. But then I have to remember half the stuff they get away with in the Devil Damn Paul Reddish shorts.
Yeah.
That and they made that, and this series has already, again in Kingdom Hearts 3, this series has already made Donald one of the most powerful magic users in Final Fantasy history.
They literally allowed
Donald
the little duck that people mistake for a goose to learn Zeta Flare.
People
Wait, do
mistake him for a
genuinely
goose.
mistake him for a goose?
It was I remember that was like a running joke in one of the House of Mouse episodes.
Oh, okay. Okay. For some reason, I genuinely sorry. I'm sorry, James. Like okay, I don't doubt you. Just for some reason, the way you introduced that, I genuinely thought there was some public, like, survey or public outcry where people were like, you tell me Donald Duck isn't a goose?
Read all about it. Donald Duck might not really be
You
a
know
duck.
what that reminds me of? Like, something very similar in House of Mouse, where people were, like, polling, like, who the third member of the Three Caballeros was, and no one could figure out it was Donald except for Pumbaa.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
Pumbaa.
Pumbaa's done his
we've
research.
we've talked about this before on the channel. Pumbaa's got the insight.
I will
Yeah.
say,
Got the
I will
knowledge.
also say before we head into our next. Well, I guess we're gonna head into our next fight anyway. But like those whole
We're-
transition,
it's just fighting. Go for it.
like those whole transitional periods we go through before we go do our repeat enemy gauntlets or whatever.
Yeah.
It seriously looks almost exactly like the freaking, what was it called? The Demon Realm in Onimusha, which was like this whole, well, it's very much the same whole deal. You're literally fighting a whole bunch of enemies in a gauntlet, and if you happen to, survive, you get some pretty nifty rewards through it.
That's good.
Like access to the best sword in the game.
Right, and as you said, there was like those camera transitions from like pillar to pillar and stuff.
Yeah, no, like they look exactly like the battle arenas you go through, only they're not quite as grotesque.
Also, I guess as you're seeing on that board behind me, that's a hint of things to come. Is Hades has now put up a poster that completely covers another side of the wall because when we beat Hollow Bastion, we actually unlocked a new cup after the Hercules Cup that I am going to do because there are some substantial magic upgrades and and a couple bosses that are still unique that I want to show off. But I will be heavily editing that because the Hades Cup is like the other huge gauntlet this game will throw at you.
Yeah.
How many gauntlets are there in this dang game?
How are you, Jordan?
Yeah, since it's been a little while, Jordy, your thoughts now that we're approaching the end of this world and whatnot.
In terms of the game itself, or in general, or...
I mean, I guess in terms of like this finale, since we're not at the finale just yet, and I don't know who... I'll admit, I don't know who out of any of us are going to be there for that finale. It's kind of up in the air, but I mean, I guess your thoughts on the story? Let's do that, like the story as a whole when it's not the Disney stuff. What are your opinions on that?
I mean, in terms of the story alone, I guess in the first game it's a little more, what's it called? It's not as vague as later on.
Mm-hmm. Easier to digest.
Yeah, basically. I think it's obvious that I'm here more for the Disney characters than I am for anyone else.
I think that's... I genuinely don't know... I genuinely don't think Kingdom Hearts would have taken off as big as it did if it did not have the Disney properties to help leverage some, newcomers. Especially
considering Square's previous action RPG outings like Brave Fencer Musashi and Threads of Fate. That really does hold true, considering it really was the Disney factor and the Final Fantasy factor at that really helped sell the series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any other big action RPGs that came out. Has anyone here played The Last Story on Wii? I think that was an action RPG.
Nope. I tried it once. I couldn't get into it.
Okay, I know there's that one, and I know there's that one, and I know another game that actually really genuinely looked like it used the same engine as this. Oh, I forgot what it was called. Crap. It was a Mana series game.
Dawn of Mana?
PlayStation 2. Dawn of Mana. I remember trying Dawn of Mana, and I thought, off the top of my head, like, first off, the little voices and the 3D models they gave for all of the elemental spirits from Spirit of Mana or Secret of Mana, I thought that was cute that they brought those guys back. But I remember the combat and the gameplay, like the mechanics of Dawn of Mana were a bit too arcadey for my liking. It was like they start you off at level 0 at the start of every level, and you have to like pick up power-ups in the level to try and boost yourself up before like something else happens.
Which, I mean, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if it weren't for the fact that the gameplay system as a whole felt very clunky.
And the plot was just, what if this, but unfortunately more dull, and just straight up just wacky anime characters with no depth to them.
Right. There's kind of a reason why the Mana series is often considered like a B-lister for Square, and I mean, that game did not help it in the slightest.
Which is unfortunate, because Secret of Mana is so great, and I hear that Sword of Mana was a really solid, like, follow-up.
Sword of Mana was actually, it's funny, because I remember hearing that Sword of Mana was actually a remake of, like, the very first Mana game. What was it? Well, we call it Adventures of Mana now, but I think it was originally called, like, Final Fantasy Adventure, or maybe it was...
Oh, that was right, yeah, for the Game Boy and stuff?
Yeah, the age-old Game Boy one. Which, for those that are curious, you can actually play it via the collection of Mana, now available on Nintendo Switch.
Yep. I'm still surprised that whole
collection got a English translation, considering its history.
Between that, between the Ace Attorney and now this freaking crap, what was that new collection that Disney just the Lucas films?
The one involving what was it? Zombies Ate My Neighbors?
Yes, that one. Yeah, between that, like, people are using the Switch for a lot of retro revivals nowadays, and I'm all for it. I want. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's literally the best console for retro collections or indie stuff. Like, there's a reason why even now with the PS5 and Xbox Series X mostly out of shelves, why people are still buying it.
I will say, unfortunately, I did see a news update that Sony themselves are saying that, yeah, if you're trying to get a PS5, it's going to be difficult even into 2022.
Yeah, no, like, I feel like there's some factors that I'm not going to get into right now that ultimately screw the current generation over.
Yeah.
Way too much, yeah, and just straight up as they said, it's difficult with little like supply.
Resources.
Also, yes, I guess I may as well just say this in case anybody's screaming at past me, because I realize I should be screaming at past me too. The whole big reason why you also want to kill these guys is because in every one of these areas there is a single treasure chest that you can open that has a really neat little goodie in it, but, you know, of course you can't open treasure chests while you're in battle, hence why you want to fight them. And I realized I think I skipped like the last 5 or 6 worlds without opening a single... Well, no, I opened one in the Atlantica, but... So yeah, they're usually just synthesis materials, and again, I'm not going for the ultimate weapon because in Final Mix they ramped up the difficulty of trying to get that thing a lot higher with new enemies and new difficult enemy variants. But just like that, we are.
That's no excuse.
What was that? What was that hype?
Nah, I was just joking like that. That's what the people watching the video, they would be like,
That's no excuse.
Oh, on my end, all I heard was,
Yeah,
and I
thought you were
just
trying to
genuinely
be
had
a
the
rabbit.
what? And I just genuinely had the response of, "What was that hype?" I'm spooked now.
He did a spoopy.
I don't know. Like, honestly,
You did a spoopy.
Just grab that. Ooh, mighty shield.
I heard
Oh,
that.
now Goofy's got a mighty shield.
He's got a
What's
mighty
wrong,
need for a
who's
mighty
who's
shield.
Puny. It's puny.
You know, I'm starting to feel
Well-
like I've been gypped.
Well, I suppose that's what we're gonna deal with today. And here we go. And as for their ultimate weapons for Donald and Goofy, what you want to do is you want to beat the that new powerful like Hades Cup thing. It's like you have to beat it in a time limit to get Goofy's, and then you have to beat it by just Sora alone. Which don't do that until you're like a really high level. If you beat it with just Sora alone, then you'll get Donald's ultimate weapon. But
Oh, it's
What the hell are we doing?
and no.
Why are we here?
To get an item, and this is also like your save point area. As soon as I can find it, there it is.
Oh, okay.
They don't have
A moment's
Heartless in there.
reprieve.
Also, this is the part where I remembered. Holy crap! I should talk to Aerith not once, not twice, but 3 times, because as he regales all of this lore to me. There, now I have Kiraga.
Thank you,
good.
White Mage.
Well, there
Okay,
you go.
now we're off on our adventure. So there, I have that, and now we are ready to move on to this.
Are you sure you want to go in there, Sora? It looks like. Oh,
Oh,
So yeah, this is just a couple of fighting some invisibles, and this opens this door, and huzzah, it's the plot dump.
oh boy! Yeah,
jeez.
better grab your popcorn, everybody.
It won't be that long, but it's mostly just obtuse than anything. One's born of the heart and darkness, devoid of hearts, ravage all worlds and bring desolation. And spoilers, this is a machine that I don't think we ever see again until freaking Melody of Memory referenced this.
Oh
in
gosh,
Kyrie's,
you're
like,
right.
flashback and thing. And that's the last, so they really dug deep for that one, but it's just, it's goth teenager poetry to me at this point. The Door of Darkness
So,
typed by 2 keys. One
I was
that
about
we
to
know.
say, like, in the most humble, or not humble, in the most general way possible. What the fuck is this machine?
So, Melody of Memory tried to... I think they tried to explain that this was going to be what would lead Kyrie to Destiny Islands in the first place, because the person who was using it was trying to find the Keyblade wielder, that being Sora. it seemed. That was my guess, but anyway. Now, we can descend into what Square originally wanted the final boss to be.
Ah, yes, the age-old classic that creeps on the hearts of those that watched Fantasia.
Really out of nowhere, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I don't mind. I
you're
mean,
right.
if there was ever going to be a the most bad, most nefarious, most morally evil being in Disney, it would probably be this dude.
Hello,
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Chernobog.
Like, I feel like for the status that this guy has, just to place him right here out of nowhere before the final boss, with no context whatsoever as to why we're suddenly here, just seems a bit odd.
Well, again, that's kind of like that's the whole irony of it all, because Chernobog, for all intents and purposes, was supposed to be the big bad final boss. Like, he was
Right,
supposed
darkness.
to be more or less the thing. He was the one that controls the darkness.
Right, darkness incarnate. That's what it. And honestly, I would have accepted that.
Yeah,
and
which, I mean, I guess if nothing else, I do appreciate that they still kept him in anyway, because, I mean, come on, it's Chernobog.
although I am gonna say, just throwing this out there, especially sorry, dudes. Oh, they're dead.
Oh,
They're
oops.
roast.
Well, that's what we get for fighting Satan.
Goofy, we shall have a funeral, and Donald, we shall have a banquet later. And but no. Actually, no. Speaking of ducks on fire, that goes on to my topic of I'm surprised in this, like, especially with Kingdom Hearts and what they have the power to do now. I would love a boss where you fight the freaking Firebird from Fantasia 2000.
Jesus, that would be insane.
Because that thing is imposing, and that thing is incredible to look at, and I think it would look really cool on current gen consoles.
I mean, hey, maybe if there ever does come to be a Kingdom Hearts sequel on PS5, we could get something like that.
Yeah. And also, thank you, royalty-free music, for letting us play Night on Bald Mountain in its entirety.
Oh,
Oh,
of course.
yes.
I can only imagine how magnificent Chernobog's gonna look in that inevitable Kingdom Hearts 1 remake.
If it ever gets
I'm genuinely wondering if they'll ever do something like that. Like,
You know damn well if they do, they're gonna treat it. They're gonna put in some sort of multiverse bullshit to tie it with the rest of the franchise right to its roots.
actually,
Oh, exactly.
yeah,
They're going to do the
they
exact
would-
same thing they did with the 7 remake.
Yeah, they probably would do that.
Yeah.
And I
The
guess
story,
again,
make sure that the story for the first game is just as convoluted as the rest of the Devil Name franchise.
oh jeez, okay, I actually have to be careful. I'm
Uh-oh.
almost close to death. Thank you,
You
second
know,
chance. Second chance
imagine-
saved me there. Go ahead.
Imagine if, they still kept to the whole general concept that either Mickey or Donald was the main protagonist of this game. And your final boss is literally this thing.
I would play it.
That'd be
it would
amazing.
it would basically be the most incredible Illusions successor to date.
I know!
Yeah.
That's like literally what I want out of a freaking Mickey Mouse video game. Like a literal Illusion successor where this fucker's like the final boss or super boss.
Right.
Or you know what? Given the whole panache with the Illusion series having Pete be the final boss to... Actually, no, wait, that...
It would
I'm
be
thinking about
Chernobog
it.
with Chernobog. Imagine Chernobog with Pete's face.
Pete's
Oh,
face.
no.
Yeah,
No,
no.
no, 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 no.
Like, I was thinking that first, but then I realized in mid-sense, no, wait, it was Magical Quest that had Pete as the final boss in every game.
There's that. And
Ooh,
I mean,
nice.
I will admit, oh, hey, Super Glide.
So Super Glide, basically, once I equip it, you press the square button as opposed to the circle button when you're midair, and it basically is a faster glide. That's all it is.
So basically, it gives you
now
the similar mobility that you originally had while on near Big Ben.
Yes.
But anyway, what was I gonna say? Like, truth be told, if there ever is like a proper Illusion sequel, like have Mickey, like I would want Mickey, Donald, and Goofy to be the playable protagonists, because even Goofy needs his time in the sunlight for a change.
Right.
And secondly, like if there was a villain, as much as I wouldn't mind Pete being like the proper end-all villain, I kind of want to see them try again with fucking Murloc.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that'd
yeah.
be pretty amusing.
Like
I mean, Murloc was
bring whole house his whole power to transform into literally any animal or beast.
Right. No, a shape-shifting boss would make a lot of sense there. So this is it. For anyone wondering, the remainder of this video is going to be me in this room, because this is where they will literally throw every single enemy, not every single enemy, but every one of these pure blood heartless we've been fighting. Between us and that door, we're basically fighting all the heartless to release the seal that will lead us to the quote-unquote last door that the dude said we were going to open or whatever.
Wait a second, you said purebred, but these guys have the insignia.
Or no, not these guys. Wait, I think the... You know what? You're right. The Angels probably... I think the Angels do have the insignia, Heartless. It's the Shadows, the Dark Balls, and the Invisibles that don't have the insignia.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, my bad. It's going to be a combination of those guys. There we go.
It's weird. Trust me, it's weird.
And they involve more species, and so yeah, right here. Donald!
I was really hoping he would ram into the wall.
Honestly, at post, just added the fucking Tarzan yell with Donald's literally just doing that whole jump.
Anyway. So basically, at this point, as you see that you'll see that seal in the background gradually falling apart as we destroy wave after wave. Just hit him with everything you got. So at this point, I'll say, yeah, the story of the series gets beyond convoluted, and there are times where I wonder if they shouldn't just completely step away and just go full on, embrace full Disney and don't try to do all this. But
I wouldn't even outright say go fully embrace the Disney. I'd say fully embrace the fact that it was a Disney and Final Fantasy crossover. Like, the original stuff is fine and all to a point.
Yeah.
But like, once they start diving into like really absurd logic, it's like, yeah, no, you kind of have to take it back, kind of step back a bit.
But actually,
well,
no.
I also feel like
Go ahead.
I don't know if that would really work a whole lot, because wasn't one of the main complaints people had with 3 is that they focus too much on Disney worlds?
Okay, they focus too much. Somebody said this, and I think I said this earlier in the commentary, but it's worth pointing out again. Somebody pointed out that what Kingdom Hearts 1 did so well that Kingdom Hearts 3 was, I guess, trying to do, but it didn't quite work, is Kingdom Hearts 1 did a really good job of making Sora and Donald feel like they were involved and integrated with the story.
You mean
Like,
Donald and Goofy?
Donald and Goofy, yeah. What did I say?
You said Sora and Donald.
Sorry. Goofy to
Well,
a
I mean,
lesser
Sora
extent.
too,
No.
but still.
Sora, Donald, and Goofy all like felt like they were involved in the plot. Like in Alice in Wonderland, we tried to stop that court from happening, and in Tarzan, we were directly involved in. We were the ones who had to be all found and brought back together again. And Aladdin. You felt like that if we weren't in the picture, the plot would have been a lot different had we not been there. But with Kingdom Hearts 3, with events especially like Frozen and Pirates of the Caribbean and Tangled to a lesser extent, but yeah, definitely Tangled too. I think Monsters Inc. and Toy Story, the Pixar worlds, which some people say it's because they had a lot more freedom. And Big Hero 6, yeah. Some people said that because those weren't like direct Disney properties, or because like they were a little bit more free with that. Basically, those worlds are people's favorites because they felt like original stories that involved the characters, like new things happened.
Yes.
Frozen, Tangled, and Pirates of the Caribbean, you really felt more like you were just with Sora, Donald, and Goofy watching the movie, and they just were kind of inconsequential to everything happening.
Pretty much.
I mean, hell, there's a whole plot point in Pirates of the Caribbean where we literally we were kidnapped or knocked unconscious, and we are now away from the plot, and we only catch up with them after hours of that plot has already taken place, and they're already at the final battle. It felt so weird.
I guess if there's one thing I do definitely remember from what little I did play at Kingdom Hearts 3, like, it was during the Tangled world, and right when it all ended. I know deep down it's kind of inconsequential, but there's something that makes me crack a weird little smile. Just seeing Sora, Donald, and Goofy just watching the whole events unfold and literally just being all teary-eyed over it all.
I mean,
Like they were watching the movie with us.
But I understand what you're saying, where like literally it was basically it was straight up lifted, the ending cutscene from one of the ending scenes from Tangled, just with Sora, Donald, Goofy in the window. Like they really were just observers.
Exactly, they were literally the co-commentators like we were.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, so I guess backing up there to hype, that is why I would say why I agree Kingdom Hearts 3 didn't do it as well. It focused too much on trying to show us rather than let us be a part of it, especially with Frozen. So if they did something more like this, and now I'm seeing where James is coming from as well, where it's like, I think it would work if they let the villains be existing Final Fantasy and Disney villains more. Like, the original characters I don't end up caring too much for. Like, the Organization 13 genuinely kind of bored me for a lot of it, and
they were they were also kind of a non-entity for at least the good first half of Kingdom Hearts 2. And then then the game remembered, oh, that's right, we're still part of the plot, technically.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to stop there for a little bit. We'll have plenty more to talk about in the next part about that, but welcome to the final rest. This is it. This is the point of no return that I could trigger the finale of the game if I wanted to right here, but there's a couple of little loose ends that would have been in the original Kingdom Hearts 1 experience, not Final Mix, but the original as well, that I want to still show off. So stick with us for 2 more parts as we show off some of that lovely optional content that the developers put in, and then it'll be the finale.
And then we'll get those spatulas.
Bye.
And then I'll finally be a real boy.